Were they new when they were purchased? What about the revenues they make? At least 1.7 to 8 billion. That was the intention of this motion. Where is the money? It's not a service railway. People pay. And were they new when they were purchased? The question is no. Second hand. And who did it and why?
It's not even that. There were issues you raised. Senator Alero, you also pointed out, I don't even think you were in charge at that time. He pointed out that they were conveying about 10,000 people a day. And the people paid. So where did the money go to? And then we also borrowed billions and billions to Putin from China. Why would they sell us second-hand rail coaches? What about the rail tracks? Why second-hand? So we have a responsibility as a Senate, founded in the Nigerian Constitution, to ask questions, to look into these things, and to correct them. We have always said that we're a corrective parliament. So we must look into these things and let Nigerians know where they went wrong. And if there are people that kept the money for us, saved the money for us to buy the second-hand ones, then we get them to bring back the money. From their hands alone, we can recover enough money to repair the coaches you are talking about, if we need to repair them.
As it was originally planned. So, Mr. President, it is true that the number of trips has dropped drastically from 5 to only 1. And this is simply because the bandits have damaged the truck. And they have vandalized the trucks, and it takes a lot of time and resources. And these resources are not available. As you rightly know, even contractors that have finished their jobs, they are now finding it difficult. Mr. President of the Senate, I am coming on the Senate Order 42. And by your grace, if Senator Ojikalu will allow you to read out, by the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the Senate President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there will be no question before the Senate. But no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may any debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in detail to the Senate President when he is leave to make his thought. Mr. Senate President, I came before you and
the section that took up and use it at the point of his own mischievous. And the Supreme whatever document that is that is mischievous to use this section without demonstration.
I was before you this morning and alerted you on the tragic history of Nigerian railway situation, particularly as it affects Kano and Kaduna rail line. Mr. President, you will recall, like my colleagues will recall, the Nigerian railway lines between Kaduna and Abuja was led by the then President Goodluck Jonathan. in 2015, as he was departing, the rail line was commissioned. And subsequently, when late President Buhari took over in May 2015, he further recommissioned the lines with about 5 heads of cargoes and about 8 to 10 coaches or thereabout. From 2015, the railway started commuting 10 trenches of movement, 5 from Abuja to Kaduna, 5 from Kaduna to Abuja. And my investigation told me when they started commuting, they were commuting 10,000 passengers in a day. Last 2 weeks, Mr. President, I visited Kaduna like I used to visit Kaduna with the railway. And what I found and discovered was simply a tragic Nigerian story. I ventured into the leader of the railway, that is the manager, and he rendered these statistics to me. First, he told me they were committing 10,000 passengers, and because of the terrible nature of Kaduna-Abuja road, most people come from Kaduna and walk and travel back to Kaduna. The 10,000 passengers they were doing a day was reduced to about 800 to 900. The 10 shuttling that we are doing a day was reduced, Mr. President, 2 times in a day. And I was made aware that while the railway was working on full capacity, they were, of course, creating a revenue of close to 1.8 billion monthly. The story I'm about to reel out, Mr. President, that at this moment, there is no live cargo except one that goes to Kaduna and sleep and come back in the morning to Abuja. What that tells you, I was a subcommittee chairman of SHAPI, the government of Goodluck Jonathan then, from billions of naira into that revenue, into that railway. But what is amazing and Nigerians are unaware of is that everything that came in terms of the cargo and coaching were second-handed. And therefore, they were kept aside. While I was in one of these trips last week, I called the chairman of the Senate Committee on Transport, Right Senator Alero, to alert him on this. And even yesterday, I approached him because I listened to the managing director of Nigerian Railways, who took over duties as at about a year or so ago, and he was exhibiting the successes of Nigerian Railway. Unfortunately, he confined his statement on the successes recorded between Lagos and Ibadan. As I speak to you now, if you want to go to Kaduna and you are running away from the road, you need to wake up by 7 a.m. and take a railway to Kaduna, otherwise you forget it. And if you are coming from Kaduna to Abuja, you need to be at the railway by 1:30, and these are the only thing. So what am I saying, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, is that we cannot, as a nation, continue to allow the decadence of our scarce resources.
What about,
who purchased
what about
those,
this? What about the speed of the rail?
And when the railway started,
the coaches, the speed.
We were spending about 1.5 hours to Kaduna. Today, last week when I went, we spent 3.5 hours. It was moving on a snail's speed, and therefore people have no alternative than to stay there. And I had a cause to talk to people, and they say even if it means lasting five hours, they will have to go. So, Mr. President, this is very disturbing. It will not only disturb me, it must disturb this Senate and disturb Nigerians, that as it looks, nobody is ready to do anything about it. Of course, without any prejudice to Adam Oshomole Committee that is saddled with investigating the decadence of railway system in Nigeria. But this particular matter, I've also informed the ad hoc committee chairman about the decay. Fortunately, he said he has also heard. So this particular rail line is a matter of emergency. And Mr. President, this Senate must take up this issue immediately. I so submit.
I'm sure you came under Order 42. Personal explanation, so we can't debate it by our rules. So let me say that your point of order is sustained. And he came under Order 42, it's not for debate. Let's keep to our rules. So let me use the privilege to, I'm talking now, I also have privilege. You have privilege, I have privilege. So let me exercise my own first. Let me assist two of you, because, like he said, contract was awarded under the late President Yaradua, was consummated under President Jonathan, but commissioned under President Buhari, and was finished under President Buhari with a loan from China Exim Bank. Senator Alero, if you buy a car, you have what they call warranty. If you buy a plane or a car or anything, it's always time. But this railway started having problems from the first week of the commissioning. And the one in Lagos, if you are walking, the one that in Lagos, there was a time that if you are walking, you go faster than the train. The one that was going to Ibadan. You take quick steps, you go faster than the train, you wait for the people inside the train. and they are coming. The only difference is that they are sitting and you are walking. If you use a bicycle, you'll get to Ibadan before the train gets halfway to Ibadan. So it's a peculiar problem in Nigeria. When you see somebody who can do a great job, the people will talk that he's eating money, but yet he has offered service that works. I think we must change our attitude to work. So, Senator Alero, it's not money that is the problem, it's the execution of the job. If the rail system was well executed, you would not need any repair, at least in the next 5 to 7 years, or even 10 years. And then most of the coaches, I understand, the tracks are too small for them. So when they take a bend, the whole railway will come down. The whole coaches will fall. Because the tracks are the old tracks of the locomotives that we were using in the 1960s and 1970s. And so the modern rail system is very sleek. So the rail lines are sleek, but the locomotives were very wide and heavy. And so once you try to take a little speed and then take a bend, everything will come down. Everything will just naturally fall. So I think we should go ahead by taking a holistic look at the entirety of the contract, vis-a-vis the funding, as well as the execution. Implementation was a problem. Even if you come now and then go and get money and say you want to repair, what are you repairing? Has the period of warranty gone? The people that supply those things ought to give us a specific period within which those things will not spoil. And if anything spoils, they will repair it with their own money, not with Nigerian money. We've not taken steps to recover the losses. Neither have we taken steps to know why they were second-hand. There's no country that will just go and contract and contract with another country to buy second-hand railway system. I don't think there's any such country. So whatever happened here must have been man-made. And that's why we have the hardcore committee. So let me, yes.
Please approach this matter. I don't want anybody to misconstrue this matter.